Dave Cariello Schefter out here breaking Saints news, setting Saints Twitter ablaze. Oh, and Pete Carmichael got fired too. Thomas, hit that intro.
Welcome to the award-winning Saints Happy Hour podcast. Seriously, this podcast has won awards. American standards are dropping every day. The show features Ralph, the best host in the world, who can barely pronounce his own name, much less anyone else's.
Marcus Callaway.
Dave is that dude who loves taking bathroom breaks. He's mad about almost anything, so make sure to lower your volume when he speaks.
Put that freaking clown meme back up that I made. Jesus Christ.
Andrew has sources, watches tapes, and knows football. He rarely shows up on time and wants to commit crimes to help the Saints win.
Sean Payton would have done illegal things. Don't tell me I'm wrong, because you know it's true.
Oh, and there's also Kevin, who is great at doing mock drafts, but struggles to actually watch Saints games or have a functioning relationship.
Budrich wants to know how the doctor's doing.
That ended.
Anyway, grab a drink, sit back, and enjoy the insanity.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast presented by Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. I'm Ralph Marlboro. I'm joined by Dave, Andrew. Also, hello to everybody in the chat on Twitch. Man, we got a ton of people tonight. We got MC Cello, we got Ryan, we got Nola Fredo, we got Budrich, we got Ryan, we got Jason Champagne, we got Hatchet John. We got tons and tons of people. Andrew's dad was there for a second. Listen, this is the offseason. It has arrived. No Saints football, so I don't have to pretend to care about my family and all those other things. And usually we're like, we kind of ease into the offseason. Not tonight, baby. Dave set Saints Twitter ablaze with breaking news.
You're not even doing your usual sponsorship stuff. What are we drinking? We're going right into it?
We're going. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
And we gotta get to Saints coaching news. Pete Carmichael got fired. But before we start, remember to subscribe to Saints Happy Hour.
That's what I thought.
That's right. But I always do the little pitch thing of like telling the people what we got on the show. But before we start, remember to subscribe to Saints Happy Hour wherever you get your podcast. And we got our MVP contest. Listener in Maine, Dave Vince, he sent us a signed Deuce McAllister jersey. So we're going to raffle that thing off. Weekly MVP, they get their shot at having a signed jersey from a Saints legend. If we reach $100 in donations tonight, the MVP will choose which minibar bottle from my gigantic minibar booze collection I'm going to poison myself with. You should consider donating via Stream Elements by typing !donate in the chat. Click on the link that appears. Twitch takes like 50% when you donate using bits. So this way you can spend less money. It's easier to get me drunk. It's a win-win. Even Andrew can use it. And text-to-speech donations, best $20 you ever spent. Dave, I want to make this note. Monadula sent me a box all the way from the Netherlands or wherever he's from. We're going to open that box next week, but he sent me like a 400.
Let me just get this straight. You're going to open Monadula's box.
I'm going to open Monadula's box.
Got it.
But I got like, the thing is, he sent me like a 400 word DM on Discord with like specific instructions on like what to drink.
I missed it.
Like what to drink, when not to drink. Don't mix this, don't mix that. So it's like a chemistry thing. I think he's going to try to kill me live on the Twitch stream. So like I can't just open the box like other people send me stuff. They're like, "Hey, Ralph, this is cool. Just drink it. It's fun." Monadula's got like he's like Oppenheimer.
It's like a chemistry lab.
Yeah, it's like a chemistry lab. So Monadula, we're going to get to your box, I promise.
Are you going to get to his box on Twitch? Are you going to open that Monadula's box on Twitch live?
Phrasing. Thomas, do we have MVP leader already?
Yes, sir, we do. We reached the donation goal last week. Tonight, thanks to Biloxi Blues for subscribing. Thanks to your boy Alan for 19 months straight subscribing. And the MVP leader who won also last week, the one and only VIP Hatchet John for gifting 5 subs. So we are at 35%.
All right, so I'm drinking, of course, strawberry, Hardhide strawberry whiskey and strawberry lemonade. It's amazing. You should try it. So Dave, a.k.a. Schefter.
I'm drinking gnarly barley, social lubricant again. Hazy
Lubricant.
Boy IPA.
You weren't lubricating the Saints' social media. You were trying to burn it down.
Andrew,
We'll get to that in a
is Andrew.
We're still
is,
in January.
Still dry January. All right, Ralph, you want to talk about it? Okay.
I want to talk about it.
All right. So y'all tweeted it out. You know, as you know, I'm the only one on this podcast that actually lives in New Orleans, of course.
That's right.
And you know, every now and then, some things come to me. Some things are told to me. You know, I own a store. Sometimes people come into the store. Anyway, so today, very casually, something was dropped to the effect of, and we kind of tweeted it out that like, I don't know what's going to happen with Mickey Loomis per se. I think he's still going to be in charge, obviously, but I think that Kai Harley is going to be elevated to be the official GM of the Saints. I don't know when they're going to make that announcement. Mickey does have a press conference tomorrow, so maybe that happens tomorrow. You know, obviously they haven't announced any of the recent head coaching hires that they've made and firings. So
Not head coaching. You mean assistant coaching?
Just assistant.
Yeah, just coach. Did I say head coaching? I mean coach.
You said head coach. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, definitely not.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, but so it certainly makes sense. Maybe they'll make that announcement tomorrow with all of that. I don't know. You know, I think it makes sense. A lot of teams, I think, would love to have Kai Harley, and so I think some of this move is, at least in part, to give him this new title, make him happy. You know, give him what he wants.
What did you say his last name was there?
Kai Harley.
Okay, I thought you put
I'm
a
not
T
saying
in
Harley.
there.
No, I'm not saying Harley.
You can't go full Ralph during the break.
I thought there was maybe a sprinkling of Ralph there. But
no.
Sorry,
Oh my God.
I misheard. Continue.
No, from what I understand, a lot of teams like him, and to keep him, they might have to elevate him and give him a new role, a higher role, and so that makes sense. I think that's great. I also think it makes sense. Like, I was thinking about this, and I was just going down the line there, and it's like, Mickey can't be GM forever. First of all, Mickey is not going anywhere. I think most Saints fans know that, but in case you don't know that, Mickey Loomis is not going anywhere.
He's pushing
he may
70,
as well,
by the way.
I didn't know he was that old. I didn't know that. But he's not going anywhere. He may as well be Saints ownership. And so when you think about like the optics on that, like, you can't have a GM who's untouchable. Like, you can't have when the team when things go bad. And we're kind of getting there now. Another year of crappy football. And people are going to be calling for more heads, and you can't. If you have a fan base, they're going to want change. Then you can't have they're going to want a new GM, and so you can't have a GM who can't be fired. You can't have a GM who's there forever. You have to be able to hire and fire GMs when necessary, if not, at least for the optics of it, for your fans, to make your fans happy. And so I think this makes sense in that way too. Like, have Mickey have some new title or whatever.
67.
I won't say new role, but have him have some new title. That way he's kind of like unfireable. He's more like in the executive office.
He's like the Pope. Is he like the Pope? Is he on fire?
He's not necessarily the GM. So he's not the person that whose head everybody is going to want when the team puts together 3 straight 3-14 seasons. They're going to want the GM. They're not going to want, whatever Mickey's title.
To Dave's point, Andrew, the as sort of analytics, right? As it sort of takes over all sports, right? It started in baseball, it's gone to basketball and football. Like, as analytics has taken over all these sports, it used to be, even I would say less than a decade ago, like Mickey Loomis, the cap guy, as your general manager, was still kind of a rare, not the majority thing. And he became Saints general manager in a strange way. Randy Mueller got fired and he got elevated to it. But now, Andrew, all these teams, like, they have no problem hiring a guy who isn't a quote unquote football guy, right? Who's in a scout and that thing. So does it make it where the Saints really have to do more to keep Kai Harley, whereas 5-10 years ago he was just your cap guy, and they were never going to put a cap guy in charge like Loomis was. And now the Saints got to work really, really hard to keep him from heading out the door.
Yeah, I mean, like Dave said, I think the Harley thing makes a lot of sense because you want to try to keep an asset and you're building a smart guy and you don't want to let him go. And, obviously we know Jeff Ireland is currently interviewing, I think, for the Chargers GM spot. Yeah. So, to lose Kai Harley and Jeff Ireland in the same offseason, I think would be really devastating to the Saints front office. And so, if they can come up with a solution to keep at least one of those two guys to kind of help Loomis, that's a big deal. So, yeah, I mean, look, we'll keep an eye on things, and obviously tomorrow's press conference will be really big. But like Dave said, I think it makes sense when you're a GM that's in the circle of trust. Mickey Loomis is going to be a Saint for life. And in fact, he's in the possibility of a death to Gail Benson. He's involved in the will, and I think Dennis Lauscha is too, as like executors or whatever. So, and that was public information when the succession plan was first laid out. And so he can't go anywhere. So I think Dave's point's a good one. At some point, if you want a GM to be accountable for the results of the team, it can't be Mickey Loomis can't go anywhere.
That's right.
He's part of basically part of ownership.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
so, I think for all those reasons, it makes a lot of sense. Not the least bit of which is the fact that Harley is absolutely qualified and ready to be a GM in the NFL. The dude is good. And look, I don't know optics wise, I realize that part of this is optics and elevation and title and not necessarily changes in who's making the ultimate decisions. I'm assuming that Mickey Loomis will still be heavily involved, still probably Harley's boss and maybe making some of these big decisions. But look, if he's getting the GM title, at the very least, he's the one doing the press conferences moving forward. And I think he would have a bigger voice in the process. Certainly if Jeff Ireland goes away, Loomis starts leaning on Harley more heavily. So, we'll see what happens.
I was told as part of this too. This is a side note, and none of this I have no idea. And again, I'm not a reporter.
Don't back away.
No, I'm not backing away. I'm saying what I'm saying, but I just want everybody to know that I don't give a shit whether this is right or not. Don't come at me. Don't at me and say, "Oh, Dave, you were wrong." I really don't care.
They're not going to at you. They're going to at me.
Great.
If you're wrong. I catch all the heat.
Go ahead.
I feel like we're in a win-win situation, Ralph, because either Dave is right and we'll collectively take a victory lap, or he's wrong and we'll just humiliate him.
And that's right. I mean, I don't care. I'm not trying to be I hate in the opening. I hate when you compare me to Adam Schefter. I'm not trying to be Adam Schefter in any shape or form. Okay, that's not my goal.
Dave Schefter.
I do this podcast for two reasons. One is because I love you guys. Honestly, if Ralph was we're changing the theme of the podcast to knitting, I would still fucking do this every week because I just want to hang out with you guys and talk about shit. Okay. And the second reason I do this podcast is because I like to listen to myself talk. Okay. I like to talk and I like to hear myself talk.
Because I'm a small 2,000 square foot.
I don't
shop.
do this. I don't do this to break news. I'm doing this because I'm sharing what I'm hearing and what seems legit to me with you guys, my friends, in a public format. But anyway, so what I was going to say is also one of these other things that I heard was that Mickey may get sort of a percentage ownership of the team. Not a large percentage at all, I'm sure, but a small percentage.
Dude, a small percentage. I'd rather have a small bit of a watermelon than a large bite of a grape. 1% of a team that's going to sell in 20 years for $10 billion. It's not nothing. I'm just saying.
They should have given that percentage to Sean Payton to stay.
Well, here's the thing.
Hey, Dave, what's your source, by the way?
I don't have a source. My source is I made it with a source.
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
So we would be devastated if Kai Harley left. But I'll tell you who's leaving and we're not devastated is Pete Carmichael.
See, stop. Like, well, I'm not devastated. That's fair. But
I mean, I'm saying
I gotta say, right off the bat, like, yes, the offense had their issues, and this decision on Carmichael easily could have been made 2 years ago. It easily could have been made last year. So, like, no one is surprised here. Based on how this season went, the Saints failing to make the playoffs again this year, someone, like, they had to offer someone to the fans as a sacrifice. And so
they fired the
Pete Carmichael makes sense, but Ralph, I just want to say this, like, the dude won a Super Bowl.
Matt Ryan.
Summoning Cajun Sands. Also, Dave should do the whole show from the porcelain throne.
Damn. Thanks, Tariq,
Nice.
for the exquisite $28.3.
That's awesome.
Thank
Nice.
you.
So no, listen, I think he was with this. I think it's important when the Saints fire someone. I know everyone's like, hooray, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, dude was with the Saints for 18 years. He won a Super Bowl. He had a lot of success. I get that he was riding. I mean, actually, that's disrespectful to Pete Carmichael. The dude is a genius. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, the amount of knowledge that this guy has and how smart he is. Like, he was a major, whether you want to believe it or not, the truth is he was a major contributor to this team for almost 2 decades.
If you told me in the summer, Dave, if I told you in the summer, I said Saints are going to be a top 10 offense in points and they're going to fire Pete Carmichael, would you have said, yeah, that
true?
sounds about right?
Are we top
Yes.
10? Were we top 10 in points?
Ninth in points.
Jesus.
Ninth in points scored. They fired a top 10
No.
offensive coordinator.
I would have thought you were out of your fucking mind.
If I told, like, the Saints were top 10 in scoring offense and scoring defense.
That's right.
Like, to not make the playoffs and be top 10 in both is like almost, it seems impossible.
This is like, there's an old saying in golf. They don't put pictures on scorecards.
Right.
This is like the opposite of that. You can look at the stats and you'd think, wow, this is amazing. But when you watch it all unfold and and you're there every week from week 1 to week 18, you realize why they fired Pete Carmichael.
Well, and what that picture, that picture you painted, Ralph, like, what it doesn't explain is a woefully deficient run game. And I do think that's been this offense's Achilles heel for a while now.
Well,
and
we'll get to that.
Pete Carmichael's Achilles heel.
I want to get to that.
By the way, I just imagine the firing of Pete Carmichael. The conversation went like that Seinfeld episode where they're like, we have to fire you. This is really difficult. I don't even work here. That's what makes this so hard. Like, he didn't want to be here this year. He didn't want to be here this year. Dennis Allen had to beg him to come back. I don't think Pete Carmichael gives a crap, one, that he's not coaching anymore and that he was fired, and two, what you care about it. He certainly doesn't give a shit what you people on Twitter that you people wanted him fired. It's over. It's done. Maybe they'll have a role for him in Denver somewhere, somehow. With
Well,
Sean
or he can go to the retirement home for all ex-Saints coaches, Tulane. That's where all fired Saints coaches
I know.
go,
I
apparently.
couldn't believe that. I mean, I didn't realize Rauscher, McMahon,
They're all
McCleskey.
They're all there.
Who else? There was one more.
Curtis Johnson was there.
Curtis Johnson.
We have at least 4 former Saints coaches on Tulane.
Orgeron's kid.
Orgeron's
son.
Orgeron's kid. But here's the thing I want to talk about. Andrew, you mentioned it about the running game. Joel Thomas, who the Saints sort of pushed out the door. They didn't quite fire him, but they were like, hey, if you want to go interview for other jobs, Thomas, if you ever come to us and you're like, hey, I want to interview for the Real Housewives of Warsaw podcast, and we tell you that it's okay, and we're like, you can go look around and find another Polish podcast to run, like, that means we're kicking you out the door. Like, if we tell you that it's okay, it's okay to leave.
They can block a lateral move, and they chose not to. Right. No. So they were fine with him leaving, and that's essentially saying we're not going to keep you. So Yeah, I mean, the Cody Burns, we talked about that one a little bit earlier today, and that one was probably the most surprising to me because
Cody Burns, who is he sounds like a country music star.
he was the guy from Tennessee
is it Cody with a K?
Kodi.
It is with a K. Oh man, that guy needs the guitar and a cowboy hat.
Why is that quality so terrible? It does not sound like that on my phone.
It's from Tennessee.
Cody
But the wide
Burns,
receiver,
y'all.
it was a mess, Andrew. They were running routes in the same. They had offsides, false starts. Like it was not.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to think that's the reason. I think a lot of Saints fans are mad that he got fired, and a lot are speculating on social media that it's because he was mad at DA for throwing Olave under the bus and not holding Carr accountable. So there's some of those rumblings.
Oh well, then I like that guy.
I could see it, but I don't think it's that. I think it's more, the details around guys running the wrong routes, not knowing what they're responsible for, But look, I think these changes, like, we'll see, man.
Doug Marrone survived. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah. We'll see what they do. We'll see who they hire. I for one am not like jumping for joy that Pete Carmichael's out of the building. Like, he was a smart guy that developed really good route concepts for them. And on one hand, there's kind of like he's trying to do the Sean Payton thing without Sean Payton, and maybe it's time for a refresh and new people. But like, hiring a great offensive coordinator when you're a defensive head coach is really hard because all the great ones get head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Will they unearth some guy that's just going to be better than Pete Carmichael? We'll see.
What's more likely, Dave? Because we talk about this job being appealing, but what to you is more likely? Because this scenario, it can really only go one of two ways, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Next January, DA is getting fired, or in 2 years, he's hiring another offensive coordinator because he hit it out of the park, and that dude got a head coaching job. So what's more likely?
I mean, I don't know.
Definitely him getting fired. In fact, him making it to January would be him getting fired that late.
You're burying the lead, Ralph. Yeah. You're burying the lead. Wait, Dennis Allen made it to January? It depends on what happens with the. I mean, are you asking me to speculate on how well the team's going to do, or like?
A little bit.
Here's the deal.
What would you pick?
The Saints can eject on Carr's contract after next year, right? Not eject, but like
probably
they can get out of it, and
probably not because they're going to redo it and push it down the road. And it's going to be.
I think he's going to be there 3 years.
3? Oh, see, this is worse news than.
Well, counting this year. So I think he'll. I think it's 2 more years. Yeah.
No. Okay. No, this is horrible. Look. Here's what I want to happen. I'm just assuming that there's 2 ways that this goes. To me, I thought it's either the Saints do great and everybody stays, or the Saints do terrible, or the Saints do like what they did this year. And they get rid of Carr and Allen together as a package deal. I just kind of feel like the 2 of them are packaged together. They're both going at the same time, or they're both staying. That's how I feel.
I mean,
what is the point? Because, like, really, what is the? I just think if the Saints suck next year bad enough that they need to fire Dennis Allen, I have to assume that means Derek Carr didn't have an amazing season. And if Derek Carr doesn't have an amazing season, if he has a mediocre season, I think we can just close the book on Derek Carr and say he sucks. And if that's the case, then what are you going to do? You're going to hire a head coach that has to work with Derek Carr for a year, and then
I mean, look,
that's my thing. Like, Dave, I feel like if you're going to get a new head coach, they're going to want a new quarterback.
You're not going to be able to spend the cap to replace Derek Carr. You're not going to have the cap space to do it. So if the Saints are awful next year...
Well, Kai Harley, guess what? If you're the new GM starting tomorrow, you got your work cut out for you, buddy.
That also sounded like there was a T in the Harley.
I am not adding a T.
But if I think the way this scenario plays out is if the Saints are awful next year, let's say they have a top 5 pick, they're not going to have the cap space to sign another $150 million quarterback. So you keep Carr for one more year. You get a new coach in. You draft a guy in the top 5, hopefully, and that's your quarterback of the future. And you let him sit behind Carr for a year. I think that's how that plays out. Yeah. And look, like Carr may be benched. If he's awful, like he may be benched, and you put your top 5 pick in at some point in the season.
If that happens, there's no way Carr makes it to. That's never going to happen because Carr's going to go out there. He's going to suck. Fans are going to start calling for the new quarterback. You might as well just start with the new quarterback.
No, dude. I'll tell you exactly how
Jake
it's going to
Haener disrespecting this podcast is
incredible.
Yeah.
Really,
I'll tell you exactly how it's going to happen. Carr's going to be awful right up until the point that they get a new coach and a top 5 pick, and then he's going to be amazing. And then you're going to be like, God, what do we do now?
We build around Derek Carr.
Yeah,
we finished so good.
No.
We won 3 of the last 4. And
there is a podcast 2 years from now where we're debating whether we just go with this first round pick that's kind of an unknown, or extend Derek Carr, who just had a Pro Bowl season.
Why are you doing this to me?
Hey, Tomas.
Hey, at least
check the
DA will be
on
fired in this scenario, so it's not always lost.
I think there's look. The offensive coordinator for Houston, like Bobby Slovak, I think his name is. Like, he's already getting job interviews. So there is a world, Andrew, where DA doesn't hire Gruden. He hires some nobody that we don't even hear, like Gary Kubiak's son, who's like the quarterback passing coordinator for the 49ers or whatever. There is a world where he hires a coordinator and that coordinator makes Derek Carr and Olave and Shaheed and Kamara and Miller's healthy, and maybe they draft the guy and their offense is really good, and that guy skyrockets to like a head coaching job, and like, because the Saints went 12-5. Like, it's not like, I know people in the chat are probably rolling their eyes or whatever, but you just mentioned it. Like, teams want offensive coaches and they will reach for them. And any team that has a half decent offense that goes to the playoffs, you're getting interviews. I mean, Tampa, give them credit. They won the division. They won a playoff game. But I never looked at Tampa's offense the entire year and was like, that offense is good. That is special. Like, that dude's got 3 interviews lined up.
Ralph, I think our patrons need a little motivation to donate tonight. So why don't you let them know?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
What's in store for you if they hit the donation goal?
We're a little behind on the donations.
Yeah.
We are. I forgot. We got.
You got to let them know that that Malort isn't.
Yeah, we got blue raspberry.
Is it? No, yeah, I know. You went right into the
blue raspberry
news.
We got that and that.
Yeah. Show the other one.
And Malort.
Blue raspberry. What?
Hold up the Malort. Let everybody see it.
Yeah, the Malort. It's there.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's disgusting. And
for those of you that are new, if you donate enough, if we hit the threshold, Ralph has to take a shot of one at a time of one shot, and then if you hit it again, then he does the second shot. But he'll do the Malort first.
Yeah.
And for those of you new to the show that have not seen Ralph take a Malort shot, it is the worst thing. When we did the live show together, I tasted it. It is the worst thing I have ever tasted in my life.
We're $27 away.
Somebody gave me like a 6-pack of it. I've still got like 4 of them left.
6-pack of Malort?
I forgot who it was. I apologize.
Jesus.
I mean, people were bringing the live show. It's just incredible.
What a hero! What a hero!
It's incredible.
Man.
San Antonio Saint says he just gave 1,000 bits.
Oh well, stop giving don't do the bits.
Don't do the bits.
If you had given us the other stuff, that would have been
good. They don't take as big of a cut.
All right, so in the chat, I just hit. If you write _donate, there's a link. And the Nightbot just posted this link. And if you click on that link and you donate there, the money, we get more of that money. And so we get to the donation goal quicker.
And you pay less.
You pay less. Twitch takes less of the money. So
as I wait to drink this foulness, how not so much confident in DA making the right decision, because I think even in ideal circumstances, like, he just would mess things up. But like, how appealing is this? Like, how appealing is this job? We know it's not that appealing because they didn't really want Pete doing it the last 2 years. Pete didn't want to be doing it the last 2 years, and he's been the coordinator because they couldn't find anybody better or somebody they liked more.
You want to know how appealing the job is, Ralph? That a dead man walking coach like DA.
Oh, that ought to do it.
That ought to do it.
Thanks, Hatchet John, for 20 buckaroos. I thought we hit it, but not yet. Less than $7.
Okay, we still got about $7 left. So I lost my train of thought. Where was
the donation so I don't have to drink it? God.
What was I talking about?
The Saints, how unappealing the job is.
Oh, yeah. The job is so unappealing that right now the guy that they're most closely linked with is a guy that was basically kicked out of the league for being homophobic and racist. And he's the only one that's been linked to the job.
That's fucking illegal.
Yeah. And he's suing the league. He's in the middle of a lawsuit with the NFL. And like that's the only guy they're gonna get.
And by the way, that guy, he hasn't run a top 10 offense since the Tuck rule.
It's surprising because this is like something like you would think Peyton would do, like just as like a middle finger to the NFL. Like, hey, this guy's suing you. You hate him. I love him.
Honestly, if they get Gruden, like to me, it just like reeks of desperation. Like that's all they could get.
There we go. I want to talk about that Jeff Duncan article after this.
Damn, Hatchet John and Alde Marino had the same idea. They donated at the same time. Thanks to $7
So
and $5.
who gets to pick? I mean, he's drinking Malort.
Hatchet John gets to pick his in the league right now.
Yep. Hatchet John says, drink that effing Malort, buddy.
Are the Saints more desperate to get an offensive coordinator, or am I more desperate not to drink this Malort? Oh, God.
Malort.
I think we're more desperate for an offensive coordinator.
It smells like if you took like whiskey and soap. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting.
The thing about Malort is that it's really, at first you're like, this isn't that big of a deal, and then the aftertaste really hits you. It's a delayed hit, and then it doesn't go away.
That's right.
So for like the next 10 minutes, you're still tasting it, and you're just.
And that's the thing.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Here's the thing, like the Malort, I'm going to drink this,
like
and I'm kind of
jelly of the month gift certificate.
I'm kind of going to wish that people would donate more so I can drink the blue raspberry. But I don't think the blue raspberry is going to help, and I'll probably end up throwing up. But the Malort is just disgusting.
Oh, deception!
Oh, wait a minute. Somebody's got something to say.
Hire Jon Gruden now. Sorry, Ralph and Andrew. I know you hate him.
Thanks to San Antonio Saint for 20 buckaroos.
The thing is, too,
closer to the second drink.
I'm more scared of the Malort now than I was when I didn't know what it tastes like.
Now you know. Right.
Now I know.
Now the anticipation just makes it worse.
Here we go. Here we go.
Buddy. Come on. Ew, yucky.
Hey, Sally, I need assistance. Oh, God, it's so bad.
It makes me almost want to vomit.
It does. Oh.
Yuck.
My chest burns like gonorrhea on a cheap door.
I need that sound bite. Thomas, put that in my soundboard.
The gonorrhea?
Dude,
I want them all, really, but...
it's just
there's no enough space, unfortunately.
There's nothing. There's nothing that can wash it out.
Yeah, it's
not even. That's not true. Hard strawberry whiskey is the only thing that can knock it out.
I mean, it's close, Dave.
Go to your local retailer and buy hard strawberry Ponchatoula whiskey.
Wherever fine
spirits are sold.
Wait, that's gotta be a 9 on the puke meter, right?
It's a 9. It's 9, and it and here's the thing, like you said, you do it, and then it's like 2 beats, like 1, 2, and then it just hits you, and it's just like this. It's just like this foulness, and it just hangs in your mouth. Like
Biloxi Blues says the DA puts Malort in his eggnog.
That's a lie. That's not true? Is that true? Get back on there, Biloxi Blues, and confirm whether you are full of shit or not. If you put Malort in anything, if anything, that would be crazy.
It's the opposite of meth nog.
Yeah. Your boy Alan says
I'm calling cap on that. That's straight cap.
Your boy Alan says DA drinks Malort while chopping wood.
Coach better. Do your job. That's what it's about.
Your second bottle of Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey in 2 weeks. Yeah, it's great. You should buy it. Support the show. And whenever you do, tag them to let them know that you heard about it here. My Lord, it's just it totally.
Did you guys? Okay, so did we all read the Jeff Duncan article?
Fuck.
No, I'm not subscribed to Jeff.
I saw screenshots.
No, it was on Times Pick.
Yeah, but
I'm not subscribed.
You don't have NOLA.com, the app?
Nope.
Okay, wait, really?
Well,
I refuse to pay for Jeff Duncan material.
You don't have to pay for it. It's free.
You do.
All right, so
No, it's
recap.
not.
What are you talking about? I do not. Hold on. I have the NOLA.com app on my phone. I do not pay for it, and I can look at all the articles and read the news.
I'm pretty sure you have to have a subscription.
No way. I do not pay for it.
I saw screenshots of it. So tell us about.
Well, I'm trying to reconcile. Well, Ralph, you always say when it comes to the Saints, do as they don't.
What do they
don't
do?
as
Not what they say.
Right. And so applying that to this, Mickey Loomis has defended DA and said, especially, right after the season, after the Jameis Winston thing, saying Dennis Allen hasn't lost control of the that's what the media was saying. Dennis Allen's lost control of the locker room, blah, blah, blah. And obviously Mickey Loomis said otherwise. But also in that article by Jeff Duncan, it said Mickey Loomis had a very rare players only meeting that he had to call with the players. Mm-hmm. Those two things don't jive to me. Like, if Dennis Allen has control of the locker room, I don't feel like Mickey Loomis needs to step in and have a meeting with the players. Like, those two things are oil and water to me. So what gives? I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that DA. I'm not buying that DA hasn't lost control of the locker room. I'm on Cody Burns or whoever the guitar country star is. I'm on his side.
Well,
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, and it's not Cody Rhodes. And again, I think that Olave thing, when that happened, and he threw Olave under the bus and took DA's side, I agree. I think that was a changing point. I think that was a big deal. I think it was a big deal.
Here's the thing I'll say is that it's not uncommon. The whole thing that Jeff Duncan said, they're not looking at their iPads and this and that. The one thing I'll say is I watched the Steelers get their head kicked in yesterday in Buffalo, and after the game, their players were like, our locker room is a mess. We need to be more accountable. Guys need to work harder. Guys needs to study harder. Like, we don't do what we need to do to be a championship football team. And if Saints players, they never said that about DA. Like, they sort of hinted about it. If a Saints player came out and said that after Atlanta, if Cam Jordan was like, we don't work hard enough, we don't have enough discipline, we don't have enough rules, guys aren't accountable enough, we would have crushed DA. And rightfully so. All I'm saying is these issues are not necessarily unique to the Saints, and they're not necessarily unique to losing teams. Like, every team has some sort of issues. Right, Andrew?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's fair. I mean, I will say, I think the whole vibe since DA's taken over is that more things are leaking to the media. Less people are scared to make a mistake. And look, like, Sean Payton ruled with an iron thumb, and maybe it's unfair to compare. I guess there's plenty of coaches that are not ADHD or OCD control freaks like Sean Payton.
Well, not only that, Sean Payton, he admits it. He wrote it in the book that he wrote after the Super Bowl. He likes the building to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's a Parcells principle. Yeah, you learn that from Parcells, but not every coach is like that, and I don't think you have to be that way to be successful. So I'm not even saying the fact that DA doesn't do this is why he's unsuccessful, but I just think these things like guys not on the iPad, not watching film. Guys, I just feel
the parking thing, which, by the way, Ralph and Andrew,
another breaking news.
I want to say, I was going to say, you want to take a lap? I mentioned that weeks ago on this podcast, and Duncan included in his article. Not that it's that big of a deal, but yes.
So the parking thing, I mean, that's something. I mean, remember Benson, and maybe this funnels from the top down, because Tom Benson would get pissed at Sean Payton about stuff like parking. Remember, right. There was something in Sean, like Benson got mad at Sean Payton, and even Sean Payton was like, "Why do you care about this? Why is this a big deal?" And Benson was like, "I'll tell you why it's a big deal." And then he kind of explained this whole like trickling effect, this butterfly effect of some asshole parks in the wrong spot, and it shows disrespect, and it trickles down from there. Right. And lo and behold, people are parking in the wrong spots. They're parking in handicap, which is, I think that's disrespectful. But like, and then like the offensive players are calling their own plays. They're doing the exact opposite of what the coach told them to do. They would never have done that to Sean Payton.
Benson, by the way, I want to say one thing.
And you know what? If they did do that to Sean Payton, they would have been cut that day.
Right.
Kevin had kind of mentioned this when we were chatting on the text. If Steve Gleason at any point this season rolled up to the Saints facility and couldn't park, and I'm saying this as also as an acquaintance of Steve, if he had to roll up to the Saints facility at any point this season and could not park his van in a handicapped parking spot because a player was parked in there, I'm going to be very mad. Like that's heads are going to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would say this about Benson. Not only did Benson care about parking spots, he demanded that not only did you park in the right spot, he demanded that your car was clean. He would go around in his golf cart and like take license plates down and be like, you might be parked in the right spot. It's cool, but your car is filthy. Get that shit clean.
He would not have liked me. I could not have been employed by the New Orleans Saints.
It's the little things.
I think I've had my car 4 years. I don't think I've ever cleaned it ever once.
Now, final thing before we get to, I want to talk a little bit about the NFC South coaching search. But before we get to that, Andrew.
Oh, the NFC South. Yeah, I saw the Falcons interviewing Bill Belichick. Maybe Jameis should have taken the knee. I don't know.
Do you think they asked Belichick like the basic job interview questions, Dave? Like, Bill, when did you face adversity? And how did you overcome it? What was your biggest moment of adversity? And he just puts in the tape of down 28-3, right?
Did you just come up with that yourself?
No, it was on Twitter.
Oh.
No, it was on Twitter.
I knew that was too
jokes.
funny to be yours. Yeah, I knew that was too funny to be yours.
But I mean,
it's the worst joke I've ever heard.
But it's borrowing.
It was $1, man.
That sounds so typical Ralph. I mean, Dave, I got to say, half the time, I've said it on the show before, half the time I'll text Ralph something.
Here we go.
And I see it as a tweet by Ralph like 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, I just texted you that. What the fuck with you?
Ralph is like the BuzzFeed of Twitter. He's taking other people's shit and just changing the words around.
It isn't. We aren't collaborating on hit songs, Andrew. I'm not cheating you out of royalties. Like it's like it isn't like we wrote the hit, like we're the Beatles or something, and I got to give you a writing credit so you can get those sweet Twitter royalties for the next 20 years.
Right. Ralph's like, this time it'll go viral. I can feel it.
I mean, dude, I did that thing making fun of the Rams with
this country.
With the Scarface tweet, with the Scarface gif. It's at like 3,000 likes and like 1,000 retweets.
Somebody said you're the Carlos Mencia of Twitter.
That's fair. It's fair. I mean, I just like it's just borrowing. I'm like the cripple. I'm like the wheelchair version of Carlos Mencia.
Yeah, Ralph, you're handicapped. You should be really pissed off about players parking in the handicapped spots.
I mean, like,
this is your time. This is your time. Get on
my time to shine.
Get on the top of that mountain.
I have my wife finally. She's like, you are getting a handicap license plate. I'm getting it for you, and she got it for me. But like, I feel bad because I can walk, so I don't always use the handicap parkings. I have it. I have the license.
What a guy! What a guy! Look at that.
Use it,
Ralph.
I used it today because Dave. It was like 18 degrees up in Houston. I was using it. I was using that when I went to Buc-ee's to get gas and stuff. I was like, I'm parking in the handicap. I'm out of my way. Cripple coming through.
You went to Buc-ee's to get gas?
I mean, yeah. I got to get gas.
Where is Buc-ee's? You have one like within the city? I thought they were like usually like outside of like.
No, they have them all over.
Oh, really?
Houston, man. It's Texas.
Like smaller version.
Yeah, it's like smaller. They don't have like
just
it's like regular, like a mega Buc-ee's. It's like they don't have all the options. They don't have the. It's not like a. It's like it's not like a mall. Like
you can't live there. You can't just move in.
Yeah, you can't live there. You can't buy a tent and a sleeping bag and a kettle and like camp. But my Twitter thievery aside, Andrew, how are we feeling about the NFC South? The Atlanta. They interviewed Belichick. Carolina's interviewing everybody. How are we feeling about the Saints in comparison to the rest of the NFC South? With the Saints now, they have to hire an offensive coordinator and a running back coach and a wide receiver coach. How are we feeling?
It's wide open, man. I mean, I feel like the Bucs are delaying. I almost feel like winning a playoff game for the Bucs. It's making their draft position worse. Like they're going nowhere.
That playoff game last night, Dave, it annoyed me more than almost any other playoff game that I've watched where the Saints could have, or you could argue should have been involved. Like I've seen like 2002, other years, in 2001, 2021, when the Saints almost got in, but the Rams, it didn't work out. Like I wasn't annoyed. Last night, I was freaking annoyed.
Why? Because you're sitting there watching it, saying the Saints could have beaten these guys and then moved on to the next round. And then what? And then gotten their ass kicked in the next round. The Saints didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. They did not deserve to be in the playoffs. They had no chance of winning anything against any good team. You might as well just end it now and get the damn good draft pick.
That would have been, dude, Philadelphia. The only team Philadelphia could have beat last night was Carolina.
Solve your problems with aggression.
The Saints, Andrew, maybe it's more about Philadelphia than Saints. The Saints would have won 35-10 last night. Like Philadelphia is a dumpster fire. Like they might fire Sirianni. Like I keep checking Twitter. Like if Sirianni gets fired, put in the chat, everybody.
What's the deal also with Sirianni? Has he been wearing the Italian flags on all of his stuff all season?
I believe.
You're not feeling that, Dave? You're not feeling that?
I mean, that's a little aggressive. That's a little Italian aggro. I don't know. Like, what?
Maybe he's got to play it up. He's trying to. He's hoping his Italian heritage
saves his
job
with Croatian flags.
I will say. I mean, did you guys see that Jalen Hurts had like the mallet finger, where his finger was bent on his throwing hand?
Yeah, the Brian Baldwin.
I like whether it was Carr with this shoulder injury, or Jameis with this broken back, or now Hurt. Like, what is it? I get that that's your starter. That's the guy that you've committed to. And he's team captain. Like, I get all that. But, like, what is it with these teams playing these guys that are, like, too hurt to play, and they look like absolute shit because they're so injured?
Yeah.
And, like, I just don't understand it, man. Like, how many times have we seen that where, like, the quarterback is so hurt that he's clearly costing his team the game?
You're forgetting that not every team has Jameis Winston as their backup quarterback.
We lived it in the Saints fans. We lived it in 2002.
You're making the point that they should go to their backup, Dave.
We lived in. I mean, Aaron
we should be so lucky to have a backup that's not Jameis Winston.
I wonder how Jameis's like end of year meeting went with DA. Like, like all the players they meet with the coach. Like, I wonder how that went.
I mean, their relationship
Hey, Jameis, can you name a time?
Terrible.
Hey, Jameis, can you name a time where you faced adversity? Well, my coach wanted me to take a knee, but no, I'm kidding.
Team decision. Where's my T-shirt, Dave?
I mean, the thing is, I'm more Team Jameis than I am Team DA in that situation.
Obviously.
But
Everyone is.
In a way, I would have respected DA more if he had cut Jameis the next day. At least he would have shown.
Is he under contract for next year?
He is.
Yeah, until they have to make a decision on him by certain. But like, at least biting the bullet on whatever cap ramifications there would have been, and just cutting him would have at least made a statement of like, I'm the one that runs this team.
Now, actually, now you know what? So here's my question: can DA do that? Like, does DA have enough pull with, like, Mickey and Sean were best buds. Like, if Sean wanted to do that, I think there was a little bit, Mickey would be like, yeah. I don't know if DA and Mickey have that relationship. If DA went to that, Mickey would be like, I don't know if DA can do that.
Well,
even if you wanted to.
It depends on your contract, right? Do you have control of the 53? But like to Andrew's point, DA could have came out and said, look, Jameis, I can't cut him today because of his contract or whatever, but I guarantee you he ain't gonna be on the team
June 1st.
In 2024.
But I can cut him after June.
They can cut him after June 1st. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the NFC South. Belichick. I'm like
I think he's going to Dallas.
He's not going to Atlanta. Why would anybody want to go to Atlanta?
Crappy division, decent enough defense. You got a running back. If you just get the quarterback right, you could win. Like I
mean,
he just watched Tom go to Tampa and win another Super Bowl.
Like, does
Belichick wants 15 wins? He wants 15 wins so he can have that record.
Does he want full control like he had in New England? Does he want the GM /
supposedly
head
not?
Coach gig?
Supposedly not. He's okay with like not. Okay. Like, to me, I
think Belichick would be great here. I mean, I think this is. I mean, as far as like full control and like, I have to imagine if Mickey has Belichick, Mickey's smart enough to say, you do whatever you know.
But do you want that? Do you realize the Patriots haven't extended a draft pick in the first, second, or third round since 2013? Like, their drafts are abysmal. You know, just saying. But
I don't know.
Belichick, is he more likely to have a great second act, Andrew, and get the record, coach Atlanta for 3 or 4 years, and be amazing, and he goes off in the sunset in a positive way, even if he doesn't win another Super Bowl? Or is he Ditka to the Saints, Hank Stram to the Saints, Bum Phillips to the Saints, where he's this iconic coach and his second act is a disaster?
I mean, Atlanta still doesn't have a quarterback. When we saw what Belichick looked like without a quarterback. And I'm not a believer in the Falcons' defensive personnel. I think their players on that side of the ball suck. So they got to find a quarterback.
Yeah.
I right now, Belichick and Brady, they've been tied together for their entire careers. Brady left, went to Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl. I think right now, the big debate over time, over history, is going to be, why did the Patriots win all those Super Bowls? Was it Brady or was it Belichick? And I think right now, because Brady went to Tampa, won a Super Bowl with Tampa, I think right now,
it's Brady.
The edge goes to Brady. The edge goes to Brady.
Yeah,
I really think. I don't know if this is something I don't follow the Patriots or Belichick or that organization like I do the Saints. I have no idea what kind of guy Belichick is. I don't know whether this is something he thinks about.
He does.
But okay,
we need to call Brady.
I know Brady does.
Belichick loves
Belichick wants to go to
NFL history.
I did know that. Which means if I was knowing that, if I was Belichick, I think I would just back away. I don't know if I would take it, because if he goes somewhere else, this is the problem. He's taking a big risk. If he goes somewhere else and he loses, he really
That's
stains his reputation.
That's right.
And everything he built.
I mean,
he really stains that. And Tom Brady wins the whole.
One minute ago, the Atlanta Falcons tweeted that they have interviewed Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh.
Wow. I mean,
now I do not like.
The problem I have is like 2 out of the 3 people they've hired so far that I'm aware of are very good coaches. So I'm very scared. But just finishing up what I was going to say is it's risky. Like you could cash out now. Right now, Belichick just hit blackjack and he's going to take the house for all they're worth. And he could just walk away and be the greatest head coach, and we'll never know if it was really. We're kind of seeing it now with the Patriots, and they've kind of sucked pretty much since Brady left. But he could walk away, and he'll still be a legend. But if he takes another job, and if it doesn't go well, it's not going to look good. But it's a risk if he goes somewhere else and he brings another team to a championship or a Super Bowl or a championship game. Then that cements it and that locks it, and then you could say Brady. It was Brady and Belichick. It was.
Here's the thing.
They were both great.
Here's the thing. The Jim Harbaugh one, I hate that, Andrew. You know what's interesting? Arthur Blank has never hired a coach with previous head coaching experience except for Bobby Petrino. Like every time it's like an assistant. So they're like clearly they're big game hunting. Jim Harbaugh would terrify me. Jim Harbaugh would terrify me in Carolina. Like that dude wins everywhere he goes. And he made Alex Smith good, for God's sake.
He's the Willie Fritz of the NFL and NCAA college football.
So
here we go.
They're big game, like Atlanta's big game hunting. So that's concerning. And Jim Harbaugh would be like the thing is with Jim Harbaugh is he will lean into the same. If he became the Falcons coach, he would lean into that rivalry and he would run the score up on the Saints.
That's true.
And be like, we're doing that because we remember what Jameis did. Like Jim Harbaugh will go all the way into it to like,
and he won't effing apologize.
And he won't apologize
for the 1 yard
nothing.
line at the end of the game
To like rally the people and he'll get it. Like he's a college like rah guy. He will put everything in his like Jim Harbaugh. Oh God, that's disgusting.
That is the second team that Harbaugh's interviewed
who
for
in the
NFL. I don't know who the first one.
Oh, the Chargers.
Chargers, yeah.
But I heard that like Michigan,
the Chargers still feel like a better spot for him. I think.
And I saw that Michigan's like offering him $12 million a year, and they're offering him a clause that like even if he gets put on NCAA probation, they can't fire him for cause. So like,
brilliant.
I mean,
brilliant.
So yeah, I mean, he might be staying.
Did you guys see that a reporter asked Todd Bowles if his team was ready to withstand the Detroit weather, being a team from Florida? The Lions playing a dome.
No, I hope he said no.
What reporter asked him that?
I don't know who it is.
I'm not even gonna.
I just saw that on Twitter.
I wanted to ask a question, but I won't because it'll get me canceled.
Yeah.
So, guys, we are presented by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is a strawberry flavored whiskey blended with aged wheat whiskey, American light whiskey, fresh strawberries from Ponchatoula, Louisiana. It's 86 proof, blended and bottled in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Porch Jam Distillery. Hard Hide Strawberry Whiskey is not for the thin-skinned. You can pick up a bottle wherever fine spirits are sold in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee. To learn more and to find a location to get a bottle near you, go to hardhidestrawberrywhiskey.com. Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is supporting Saints Happy Hour all football season. So support the people who support the show. Grab a bottle of Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey today. Also, remember, you can use your Amazon Prime membership to support Saints Happy Hour. Doesn't cost you a dime. Click the link in the podcast description with instructions from Thomas. It's a great way. Doesn't cost you a dime. It's a great way to support the show. Thomas, donation update. Am I going to drink this blue raspberry monstrosity?
That's a good question. We are about 55 buckaroos away. Still in the lead, Hatchet John for the MVP. San Antonio Saint right behind him, followed by Terrorique.
So before we get to questions, I want to ask you guys.
By the way, my manager, I had one funny story. I'm sorry to interrupt. My manager the other day asked me, I had to buy a shop vac for the store, and she told me to go to Home Depot. And I told her I don't shop at Home Depot. And she said, why? And I said, do you know who owns Home Depot? And she said, Arthur Blank. She said, no. And I said, it's Arthur Blank. And I said, do you know who Arthur Blank is? And she said, no. Next level I said, he owns the Falcons. And she just cracked up. She just thought that was the most petty bullshit she had ever heard in her life. And I am here for it. You're welcome, Lowe's.
So before we get to...
Okay, Dave Payton.
Before we get to questions, I want to ask something about Jon Gruden. And we talked a little bit about him before.
Where's Kevin?
Where's Kevin? Listen, I would say his emails, his racist, homophobic, all that, like, it's disqualifying. Like, I would believe that. But the main thing is, Andrew, I looked at Jon Gruden, like, his last 20 years of offense, like, it sucks. Like, why? What in Jon Gruden's recent past, post the last 20 years, what gives you any belief that Jon Gruden is going to do something revolutionary with the Saints run game to make them better? Like forget all the, like, what on-field thing does Jon Gruden have that's going to make the Saints offense better?
I don't have a good answer for you. I do think the Saints would sell it as Carr's best years came with Gruden as the coach, and that they have a good rapport together. And so it would be to support Derek Carr. If that's the route they go, and it kind of gets back to your question about how you develop the run game, there is no scenario where Gruden can do this without the support of a run game guru. So, like, the only way from a football standpoint I could start to say, like, yeah, maybe this can work, is if, like, Gruden is delivered in tandem. I mean, honestly, the ideal thing would be OC is hired and Gruden's like the quarterback coach. You know,
it would be really weird. Like, just the dynamics of it, Dave, would be really weird to have DA, the most unemotional, robotic head coach, one of them in the NFL, maybe like the most boring. They would have to put Gruden in the booth, right? You can't have Gruden on the sideline, like fist pumping and doing the Chucky stuff. Like, if you got a Jon Gruden offensive coordinator, you got to have him in the booth, right? You can't have him next to DA stealing all DA's shine, right?
That's interesting. You mean from an optics media standpoint? You mean like if Gruden's on the sidelines, he's going to get all the attention from the booth, and
like, you know what? Fist pumping and boom, and I'm trucking. Derek Carr just scored a touchdown, and he's going to be high fiving people, and DA's like in his own little world, like looking at his play sheet, calling his defense.
I mean, yes, but also the media could also be informed that, hey, we don't want to promote Jon Gruden. Like, oh boy, Matt Ryan. That can be controlled.
Wow. That Carl Smith was there to welcome Pete Carmichael to the Saints OC graveyard.
The Saints OC graveyard.
Thanks to your boy Allen, 28.3, and the new MVP leader.
Wow. Ooh, another Danny Abramowitz was in the OC graveyard. Mike McCarthy, the Saints actually ushered him out the door.
Mike McCarthy might be in another graveyard soon.
He might be. My God, the Cowboys.
Like, I got to be honest, I can't believe he's still the coach. I thought Jerry Jones was going to get rid of him.
I will always respect Mike McCarthy, because he told Jerry Jones, like, in his first interview, he's like, yeah, I had so much time off. I watched every play of every NFL game. And then he admitted that was part of the reason they hired him. And then he was like, yeah, I never did that. So I respect the hustle and the fraudulence to get a better job in life. I respect.
And then he admitted he lied on the other side.
Yeah,
of it?
he's like, yeah, I didn't do that. That's awesome. I respect it.
But anyway, do I show you? Oh my gosh! I think we're there.
Are we not? Am I gonna have to drink this drainage
Yes.
looking nonsense? Oh God.
Yes, sir.
What did he say? Ralph was.
Oh, there it is. Frick.
We're gonna have to play that again. I didn't hear
Hatchet
it.
John.
Play it again. Play that again, Thomas.
It was pretty short, but I can play it.
Ugh.
Oh, das war Interception! Matt Ryan!
Generic Dave Diss here.
I love how just making fun of. Hey, look, if insulting me is bringing in the bucks,
That's right.
I'm like Howard Stern. I'm like 1980s Howard Stern.
We need more patrons. We need more support. I want to do more live shows, more than just one a year. I want to do like 2 or 3 a year, because if we do multiple live shows a year, Dave, eventually we'll get the audio to where it'll be usable.
1 per month, man. Come on.
1 per month. We're still working on this. This smells awful.
Oh, what is that? So what is this? Blueberry what?
Blue raspberry liqueur.
By the way, I have still yet to see a blue raspberry in the wild.
What's the percentage on that?
99 proof.
Whoa.
Oof. Oh, and by the way, I saw somebody on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, you don't really drink the bottles. They're probably just filled with water, and you're not really drinking them."
Are you serious? Watch the show. We're doing this live.
I was like, that's the most. I was offended. That's the most that hurt my feelings. I was like, how dare you? How dare you? That I would.
I mean, all you have to do is fast forward to the end of these shows and watch the state that Ralph is in, and
yeah,
you'll know it's legit.
Yeah, like, how dare I would never do that to our listeners. Oh, this is gonna be terrible.
You would never disrespect Malort like that. Ooh.
Damn.
Ooh, it came up my nose.
It looked like it might have sent Ralph into a seizure for a second there.
Hey, Kelly, I need assistance. Oh, dude. It came up my nose. Oh, God.
Jesus.
Hey, Sally, I need assistance. These
So how was that one?
Awful, like 8.5. Oh, it didn't taste like raspberry at all. Oh, oh, God. These people, you know what it is? People see these. They're like, it's like it's like 99 proof, and it says 99 on it, and like people just buy them and like, we're gonna send it to Ralph because it's 99 proof. See if we can kill him. Oh God, they're all awful. It didn't taste like raspberry. You know what it tasted like? It tasted like stale Fruity Pebbles in grain alcohol. Like, just gross.
Stale Fruity Pebbles in grain alcohol. What's the proof on that? What did you say it was?
99.
Ooh, that's something. That ain't nothing.
I know when he said blue raspberry liqueur, I was thinking it was going to be like, 17% or something.
No. See, this is from Cayman and Vince and a couple other people. Like, they sent me, it's all these 99 proof ones. They're just different flavors. Like Malort and the 99 proof, bad choice. So
9 and 8 in one episode. That's first, I think.
Well, the Malort is it's almost like its own category. But really, so
the Malort category.
So the Saints Happy Hour viewer mailbag is brought to you by Hard Hide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. You can pick up a bottle wherever fine spirits are sold in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee. To learn more and to find a location to get a bottle near you, go to hardhidestrawberrywhiskey.com. Thomas, take it to the top.
Brandon Browner gave a Malort-esque performance on the field.
If you're a new listener and you're wondering why we play the incredible 80s hit Take It to the Top, that's Saints Hall of Fame kicker Morton Anderson singing with Brian Hansen. So that's why we do it. Thomas, hit us up with the first question.
Okay, we start with a banger question. Early candidate for question of the year. You'll see, man. Saints Rabbit asks.
Of course, Saints Rabbit.
When will Terry Fontenot's mission be completed and he can come in from the cold?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's a great question.
They didn't get it. They didn't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
He's a double agent. He's working for the
Terry Fontenot. Oh.
Loomis sent him off. He's a double agent.
No, I know that, but I didn't get the come in from the cold thing. I didn't know that's meant.
Whoosh, Dave.
No, I mean, okay. Well, we have to wait to see what happens with this coaching decision because that could blow the whole thing up.
Like
if he hires John Harbaugh, I'm going to start questioning whether Terry Fontenot is a double agent or not.
I think Terry Fontenot might be failing, Andrew, because everything I read in the coaching search is like Arthur Blank, Rich McKay make the decision with input from Terry Fontenot. So
yeah,
it's like Terry Fontenot just is like bringing Jim Harbaugh into the room and they do the interview and then Terry Fontenot says,
Terry, you go announce it. We've decided to hire this guy.
Yeah. Like, well, here's the thing though. The drafting by Atlanta, Kyle Pitts, terrible draft pick. Bijan Robinson is a really good running back.
I wouldn't say terrible. I would just,
I mean, he was good his first year. The last 2 years, he's been very, very mediocre.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. What was he picked? Like fourth overall?
Fourth.
When you pick a tight end fourth overall, like he better be Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Jesus.
I think here's the thing. I think there's a decent chance Terry Fontenot either gets fired or like leaves or whatever because he'll be around. Like if they hire Jim Harbaugh or Belichick, like Terry Fontenot, he'll be doing as much for the Falcons as like the secretary. Like they're just going to move him aside because who's going to tell Bill Belichick who he can pick? Who's going to tell Jim Harbaugh, who just won a national championship at Michigan? Oh yeah, I'm going to tell you what to do, Jim Harbaugh. I'm going to pick the players here. No. So we'll see. What's next, Thomas?
All right, let's use one question from the chat then. From San Antonio Saints. If Belichick goes to Atlanta, how much of a threat to our winning the NFC South is that?
Well, we can't win it without him here, so him coming only makes it more difficult. So yeah, I would say that's a pretty enormous threat. I mean, the thing about Atlanta, the thing about Atlanta is I would say the Bucs overachieved this year. Carolina is absolutely dreadful. The Saints, I don't know that they overachieved or underachieved. I think 9 wins is kind of like right where they belong. Like that's the talent level of this team. Atlanta, to me, underachieved woefully, like big time underachieved. And, so to
you
me,
would have picked Atlanta to win the division this year? Is that what you're saying?
I think they had by far the worst coaching in the division. I think Arthur Smith, like the more I watched him, the more like their game day decisions, like I just think he's horrible.
Their losses, Dave, were their losses are awful. Like you can say what you want about the Saints. The Saints, they didn't really have any like losses where you're like that team's picking fifth. How could you lose to them at home? And it was like the mistakes that they made in those games. Yeah.
Like, I think Saints fans live in a vacuum where Dennis Allen is the worst coach they've ever seen in their lives, and this coaching staff is inept. But, I mean, you look at these two teams side by side and the things that were happening in games that would cost them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Atlanta, like some of the stuff was unspeakable, man.
Yeah.
And I keep harping on this, like the failure to call a timeout against the Saints before halftime in the game the Saints just won. Like, it's just like that's coaching 101. Like, I still can't believe he botched that.
Dreadful.
I mean, that was like Les Miles type clock management.
Les Miles believes that you could roll timeouts over. Or no, he believed that you needed to spend all your timeouts. Any timeouts left at the end of the year, the IRS would double tax them.
I think Les Miles believes that time is as fake as the Saints believe the salary cap is.
That's right. Time is a state of mind.
Who sent me? Did you guys see that like meme with Arthur Smith? It said like Arthur Smith looks like a monkey asked turned into a man, like a monkey asked a wizard to turn him into a man, and that's what it looks like.
That's right.
I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just perfect. No notes.
That's disrespectful.
No notes. Let me steal that for myself.
That's right. What's next, Thomas?
Where'd you steal that one from, Ralph?
Ross already
Did you see that on tweet, Twitter man. Today?
That's right.
Ross already looking for that tweet, man.
I'm on Twitter 8 hours a day. I
don't know how you missed that.
I don't even consider it stealing. It's just like it just like soaks into my being.
You would think we would have more listeners with the amount of time you spend on Twitter.
You would think I would have more than 10,000 followers for the amount of time that I'm on Twitter. And the amount of times that I've stolen tweets and they've gone viral. You would think I've had more followers.
Actually, you know what? No. That tracks. The more you're on Twitter, the more people probably hate you and want to unfollow you. Actually, no, that makes sense.
That's true.
That makes sense.
I vanity search.
You wonder why we have any listeners at all.
I vanity search myself on Twitter, and that was a bad decision.
Oh my god!
People say very, very mean things about me.
Ross pulling us down, guys.
Yeah.
Oh god!
So what's next, Thomas?
All right, next question from Nole Fredo, who's also in the chat. But this question is from our Saints Happy Hour Discord. He asks, seeing some of these playoff games, how mad are you that the Saints didn't get a shot at the likes of Dallas or the Rams? ODA have found a way to mess it up.
The
Rams 100% would have kicked. They kicked the Saints' ass like a month ago. They'd have kicked the Saints' ass again.
Yeah.
Dallas, I don't know. Like the only one I'm 100% confident in, the Saints would have beat Philly like a drum.
Tampa too. I think we
would not. No, I don't know about that.
I do.
Wow, I don't know.
Your boy Alan wants a new segment, weekly segment. Worst tweets about Ralph this week. Like Jimmy Kimmel mean tweets.
That might actually be pretty freaking.
Yeah,
great.
I would be entertained by that. I welcome that segment.
I'm going to put myself in charge of that one.
Yeah, just vanity search my name. People say mean things about me. Hurtful. I'm a special.
What's next?
What's next, Thomas?
Well, you would you like to compound on that?
No, I was just going to say
expound. Sorry.
There are certain segments of Saints Twitter I am reviled. Apparently, I broke my own rule. I shouldn't have vanity searched I was the ignorance that people liked me. It was I like to live in that world.
You're vanity searching your actual real name.
Yeah, and that was.
I feel like if I search my name, nothing would come up, right? Like nobody's tweeting about me.
Bad. I'm notorious for making.
Are they?
Bad
Should I be checking now? Well, yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
I'm notorious for making bad decisions, and I did. So what's next, Thomas?
All right, final question of the show from Aldi Marino. He asks, of all the starting QBs in the NFL, which is the least talented QB that you'd say could get this Saints team, coaching and player awards and all, to a Super Bowl, and how far away is Carr?
This is a great question. Like, you just
drop all the starting QBs in the NFL, which is the least talented QB that you'd say could get this Saints team coaching and player awards and all.
So Mahomes could get him to a Super Bowl.
The Marantz woke up, Dave. Holy shit.
So
oh, really? Okay. All right.
Mahomes could get him to a Super Bowl.
Weird.
I guess you lost weight, Dave.
Andrew, do you think Lamar Jackson can get him to the Super Bowl? I feel like Lamar Jackson.
He can't even. No, he can't even get the Ravens. The Ravens can't even get to the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. How the hell is he going to get the Saints there?
That's right. And they have elite coaching with John Harbaugh and
forget it. Forget it.
Mahomes.
So Lamar Jackson is about to be named possibly.
You're telling me that DA wouldn't ruin Mahomes?
Maybe.
I don't think. I mean, dude, I don't think DA is not going to the Super Bowl with any quarterback. Period. Wow. End of story.
Even like Burrow.
No.
I'm going back to what I said earlier. It's a package deal. The two of them are together. They either get their shit together next year, or they're both gone together. That's the way I feel about it.
The funniest.
That's what I want.
Wait, hold on. What? When you say get their shit together, like what? Like make the playoffs?
Start winning. Make the playoffs. Win a playoff game.
The funniest.
Wait, hold on. Make the playoffs like this season, like with 9 and 8. That doesn't count. No, it's like make the playoffs, like make the playoffs, and also like win a game. Like this is
so how many wins, like regular season wins? Forget the playoffs for a second. How many regular season wins
11,
do they need?
11
or more.
Yes.
So 10 wins. You're like
10, and he's got to make the playoffs. But I was gonna say,
I don't know. It's like going back to what we said before. Like it depends on how all of this plays out. Like. We're talking about like the numbers on a paper. We're talking about 10 and 5, whatever. Like it depends on how that 10 and 5 comes to be. Like I don't know.
I mean, look, Dallas has won 12 games 3 years in a row.
Exactly,
and everyone is ready to get rid of him. So
right. Well, I mean, like Philadelphia was 10 and 1
last night. Right. Yep. No, Philadelphia was last night's game was an 11 and whatever team against the 9 and whatever team, and the 9 and whatever team won because. They're playing better football when it matters most.
I was gonna say the funniest outcome for the 2024 Saints, Andrew. I think the funniest outcome is the Saints are like 12-4. They announce the DA extension when they're 12-4, and then the offensive coordinator that he hired, whoever that is, who's brilliant and got them to 12 wins. Leaves as soon as they're eliminated from the playoffs. I think that's the funniest outcome. And everybody is irate because they're like, you extended DA and the offensive coordinator.
And now we're stuck with them. Yeah.
The offensive coordinator who's the brains behind the operation is gone. Or you know what else is funny is like the Saints are winning and like, here's the funny thing. Like, if they hire Jon Gruden and they start winning and he fixes Derek Carr and they're like, the Saints are like an elite top 5-ish offense, like the NFL, I guarantee you, they'll forget all about those racist and homophobic email, and Jon Gruden will be getting job interviews out the yin yang, and people will be like, we got to fire DA so we can keep Gruden. That would also be...
there's one aspect of this that we didn't think about that just came to me. I feel like we finally are getting the Sean Payton stink off of us. And by stink, I mean the officials vindictively hosing us. And DA is another he's not taking in all the, just all the facts on the ground and all just thinking about things rationally. You've just gotten that stink off of you. And now you're literally hiring a guy that is suing the league. That Roger Goodell, Gruden may be the one person Goodell hates more than Sean Payton.
That's right.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like, you don't want to bring in Gruden is not the guy. Yeah,
why? Like, we just got the target off our back. Maybe the Saints are the second most hated team behind the Broncos now. And you're just like, hey, Roger, keep paying attention to us. We're still over here.
Roger, if the Saints hire Gruden as offensive coordinator, Roger Goodell is going to fly every head official into New York and put them in an auditorium and give them a motivational speech about how to fuck over the Saints.
It better freaking work, man. But here's my thing. I said this earlier, Dave. This was in the instant reaction. I believe people deserve a second chance in life, third chance. I mean, as many chances until they die or whatever. So
it's a lot of chances.
It's not that I think like Gruden should never work a job again, right? So if the Saints hire him, fine. I don't like it. I don't love it, but like they make the decision. Like it's out of my hands. I can't control it. So, and it's not like I'm going to stop being a Saints fan.
Yeah.
You're drinking a High Noon, aren't you?
I am drinking a High Noon Sunset.
I never would have thought you would be a High Noon.
Oh, seriously?
Wow. I
I
think you have to revoke your insulting Ralph on what he drinks card.
Malort.
Oh, High Noon Sun Sips are refreshing.
I feel like Malort is. Ralph is fading fast here.
I'm fading. Like I think if I did, I'll do this. Like,
are we doing a show after this?
Yeah, we are. If y'all want to do a draft show, I'll do what is it? How do you say it, Dave? Absinthe.
Absinthe makes the heart go.
Ralph has an absinthe growing on his head, on his brain.
I'll do this.
An absinthe.
For our live stream for the draft, $400. I'll do absinthe and Malort back to back.
All right.
We're going to preview that bitch.
Here's my thing on Gruden. Let me finish that thought.
It's a great quote.
It better freaking work. My thing is, if you're going to hire a guy like that, and I'm going to have to tolerate that, I'm going to have to root for the team and feel all icky, like the least you can do, two things. He better be a model citizen. Better not be pulling any of the stunts that he was that got him in trouble in the first place. And he better be good. The team better be winning. He better be contributing to success.
No.
And if those two things don't happen in tandem, DA, Mickey, all of them deserve to get absolutely crushed.
No, I'm crushed. They hire Gruden. Anything less than the 8th most points scored in the NFL in 2024 is a failure. I will accept nothing less because Pete Carmichael, little boring, good Boy Scout Pete, got you the 9th most points scored. You bring in Gruden, you better be 8th or better.
No, that's right. Okay, I'm glad we're talking about this because I've been saying all season, I don't think Pete Carmichael is the problem. I think Pete Carmichael is far from the problem. I think Pete Carmichael is just the lightning rod for fans he's got to just take all this. But I don't, again, this guy, did you not see the Derek Carr designed run a la Taysom Hill against the Falcons? That was chef's kiss. That was piece that resistance. Or the Jimmy Graham decoy play that got the touchdown. I mean, look,
that pissed me off.
I know.
They were cooking. Dave.
My point is,
the year they were cooking.
They were, and my point is even earlier in the season when they weren't doing so well, Pete Carmichael has not been the problem. I do not think Pete Carmichael is the problem. Not that I want to see somebody else come in and do horrible, and then I can say, I told you so, because then that means the Saints suck. I don't want that. Honestly, what I would really like is Pete Carmichael to go somewhere else, which I don't even know if he's going to do. Pete Carmichael may just retire from football.
I don't know. I think for some teams, he's probably a pretty appealing option.
I think so too. And honestly, like if he still wants to work, he's young. He's not like he's old. But if he's wants to move on, honestly, I think I am actively rooting for Pete Carmichael to get hired somewhere else as offensive coordinator.
Not in the NFC South.
No, not in the NFC South. Correct, in the NFC South. And to crush it. I really want to say I told you so because I really do not. This is one of the hills I'm willing to die on this season. I really do not think Pete Carmichael has been any of the problem this year at all. It's ridiculous. I think that he's been blamed. I want him to go somewhere else and destroy it. And I want to be here a year from now. Thomas, check the timestamp. Put this in your notes. I know you keep notes. A year from now, I want to be able to say, actually, I'm going to write it down. I want to be able to say, I told you so. Pete Carmichael is a damn good offensive coordinator.
Dude, if the Falcons hire Belichick, it's not impossible that he would
check the
get
timestamp on
Carmichael
this.
to run that offense.
Dude.
I mean, with Fontenot as the GM, I'm just saying.
I'm putting it on my calendar.
So, Thomas, give us the final MVP tally. And I just want to say, I love all the patrons, but the Malort is so disgusting and it hits so hard. The mailbag after this show is going to be a complete and utter disaster. Thomas, give the people a review. Tell everybody who donated.
Yeah, Ralph is just...
Where are you going to vomit? I'm done. I'm cooked.
Can't wait to do this.
Ralph is cooked.
All right. Thanks for everyone who donated. We had 3 big-time donators with 20-plus buckaroos. Thanks to Aldi Marino, to Biloxi Blues, to Terroric, to your boy Alan, to San Antonio Saint, and to the MVP for the I don't know which time, the VIP himself with 72 buckaroos, which is... the one and only Hatchet John. Congratulations.
Oh, man. The knife wasn't enough. The knife wasn't enough.
John. Thank you. The knife wasn't enough. It is incredible.
Sunsips.
And the one thing, Dave, when I vanity searched myself that I did, like it was really mean things that people said about me. But the one thing that did make me happy,
and none of it is ever about you being a cripple. It's all about your mental handicap.
It's all about my mental state. The one thing that really seems to make people mad is that, like, how successful we are as a podcast. They're like, that freaking podcast is number 2 behind Nick Underhill, and it's a disgrace. And it made me so happy that, like, people, like, our success, like other podcasts are like, oh, great job, Nick, you're building a studio and it's wonderful and you came back, and other oh, it's great, you're doing a great job. Our podcast, people tweet on it like, screw them and that cripple, I can't believe they're successful, they don't deserve any of it. And it
Fine, successful.
I mean, I don't know. They think we are like, hey, we've won 2 Podcast of the Year award. We did like 400,000 total listens last year. Like, I don't know what you define success.
And that's just because we blew the right people.
We had a live show where we could have sold more tickets and we didn't have enough space for
These
everybody
were all bots. And
hey, Ralph.
As far as listens and downloads, we should be bigger. We've been doing this for way longer than everybody else.
Ralph, San Antonio Saint wants to know: have you drank the pickle liqueur he sent you yet?
No, I have not.
We'll
get pickle liqueur sounds good. That should be on the
some people
next episode.
Horrible.
San Antonio State, come back next week. I'll remind Ralph the pickle liqueur that needs to happen.
So many people have sent me so much stuff. I can find it. I'll duel that with Monadula with his Oppenheimer instructional.
San Antonio State wants to know how much for that. He seems motivated to watch you drink this right now.
Right now.
Oh,
I have to
boy.
find
One hundo.
Yeah, $100.
We'll have to do it next week because I'd have to find it. So thanks to everybody for donating. It's awesome, Hatch John. Thanks again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting Saints Happy Hour.
I already missed the hotline. I can't believe we don't have a hotline.
We got it. Dave, it's your baby. You think of something to ask the people. And we'll do it every week if we can get enough. Well,
All right, well, what if we were right? What if tomorrow they announce that Kai Harley is the general manager? Will you call him for that?
I'm going to take the victory lap of all victory laps. Believe it. By the way, I'll take a break from stealing other people's Twitter jokes, and I'll be too busy taking my victory lap.
By the way, I have no idea on a timeline. None of this was ever I have no idea. Like, we could wait months for this to happen. Although I don't. That doesn't make sense for that. But I don't know. I have no idea.
Don't worry.
Well, I mean, Carolina interviewed Harley for the GM job, so I would think if they're trying to retain him, they got to kind of make a move pretty quickly here.
I guess you're right. So maybe we will find out
tomorrow. tomorrow. The victory lap's going to be amazing. The victory lap's going to be amazing.
You know, you're putting the Malbro stink on it now.
Maybe.
Like, honestly, there could be Saints people listening to this right now, and they're like, you know what?
It doesn't matter.
No. I mean, like people in the organization that are listening to this, and you're like, you know what? We're not going to hire them now just because we can't let them be right.
No. People do. You know what though?
They've probably done that to us like 5 times.
They have. People do. I don't know. The Saints, like, if they did listen to this show every week, like, I would kind of respect them less. Like, it's a waste of time.
I don't want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member.
It's right. Like, I mean, you know, like Mickey Loomis, like, stare at that Excel sheet a little longer, buddy. You don't need to be listening to our breaking news podcast.
Stop stealing tweets, Mickey.
Well, I'm going to take the victory lap of all victory laps. I'll have to stop stealing tweets and watching Everton tomorrow. I am going at media people because they subtly banged on us. You know, I will go at them.
And Ralph wonders why people hate him.
I know.
Whatever.
He's just got, you know what? You got to respect it though.
Face.
You got to respect it because he's all gas, no brakes at all times. whether it's for good or whether it's for bad. Right? It doesn't matter. All gas, no brakes, Malbro. That might be your new nickname.
The thing that also warms my heart is when people meet me at the airport or in public. They're like, "Oh my God, you're exactly like you are on Twitter and on the show. You're exactly that same person." I'm like, "Yes, I am." So like, I'm not like it isn't an act. This is me. So
and it's the same thing with me. Like if you walk into my store, like I'm gonna talk. I'll talk to you. Like I think people come into the store and they're worried, like, oh, they're bothering me or whatever. Like if you come into my store, I'm gonna talk to you and we're gonna hang out for like 15 minutes. You're in for like locked in for like 15 minutes.
I talked. Me and my wife, we were at my wife. We were at soccer practice. I talked offensive line with a guy who was a Saints fan. He knows I have the podcast. My wife, her eyes were rolling.
That's why I don't tell people that I have podcasts.
They were rolling.
I don't want to.
I thought she was rolling her eyes so hard they were going to fall out of her head. Because we were breaking down the left side of the offensive line for the Saints for 20 minutes. She was out
of my way not to tell people about the podcast.
I can't
because then like there's some people that like that's all they want to like. Every time they see me, they like want to talk Saints, and I'm like, I really don't want to talk Saints.
Dave, look at the chat.
I want to talk Saints all the time. Ask Andrew. I text him 9,000 times a day. I would talk Saints football to a wall. I don't even care. Like if you come up to me and you recognize me and you want to talk Saints football, I'll give you 15 minutes of my time. Not even a question. So I like it. People just railing on me. So in the chat, this has been a
Mexi Hudat says that's why I order online and I don't come into the store.
Thomas, bookmark this one. This one's an award winner. Thanks for listening, guys.
Maybe if we're right. If we
doesn't matter.
If we announce if we nailed the new GM hire.
Hey, it's only we if we're right. If it's wrong, it's all on you, Dave.
That's right. Fine. You know what? I don't give a shit. Yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit.
So thanks for listening. Saints Happy Hour, guys. Please go to saintshappyhour.com, become a patron if you're not, and support the show. We can't do this without your support. Thanks to Dave. Thanks to Andrew. Kevin wasn't even in the chat tonight. Thomas, the best producer on earth, running the show back in Poland. Thomas, you better not be interviewing for other jobs in the offseason. You are never allowed to leave. Remember, kids, if you're going to support a Saints podcast, support the one that wins awards. That Malort kicked my ass. I'm not even going to lie. Until next week, the bar is closed.